Hello everybody, welcome to the Lausitzring for the first of two races this weekend for the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. We've got a fantastic grid lined up. We've got a huge crowd here gathered as well, part of this motorsport festival weekend. And it's a very good afternoon from me, Chris Hartley. And alongside me is a man that knows all about Porsches. He raced in the championship in 2015 with great success, was the rookie champion, Alex Tyrrell. Alex, welcome along. It's going to be a fantastic day, isn't it?
Yeah, good afternoon, Chris. Thank you very much. Yeah, looking exciting for a race. First pole of the season for the new team coming, Black Falcon. I have to say also my team in the endurance side. So I'm I'm happy for them that they achieved with their first pole of the season with Christian Engelhardt at the steering wheel. So let's see, interesting race. Dennis Olsson is leading the championship. He's P2, and what else we can ask for?
Absolutely, huge success for them. So, the first round of the championship was at Hockenheim a couple of weeks ago. The season opener of the Porsche Carrera Cup. Michael Ammermuller was twice on pole position, but twice he was beaten in the races by Dennis Olsson. We saw Olsson with the onboard there. Team Conrad, his team, the Austrian team, cheering when they saw this move to get the lead of the race with better traction coming out of the corner. And in the second race of the weekend at Hockenheim, Dennis Olsson also took the lead by overtaking Michael Ammermuller coming out of the hairpin. Great close racing, some great onboard shots. Michael Ammermuller, who finished fourth in the championship last year, falling away. So it was a double victory for Dennis Olsson and the championship lead. The Norwegian leading the championship with Michael Ammermuller second in the points after 2 second-place finishes. Christopher Zoschling third in the championship standings. In the qualification at the Lausitzring, Michael Ammermuller set a 1 minute 24.58 for today's race. But Dennis Olsson was fractionally quicker, 17 thousandths of a second faster than Ammermuller. Still though, his lap time was not good enough for pole position, because with a time of 1 minute 24.272 seconds, just about 2/10 of a second quicker, it was this man, Christian Engelhardt, Porsche experts with Black Falcon, hugely successful GT and 24-hour racing team coming into the Porsche Carrera Cup, 3/10 quicker than Olsson and Ammermuller to claim pole position. And with second fastest lap times also contributing towards the grid for race 2, Christian Engelhardt is also going to be on pole position for tomorrow's race as well. So just about the perfect start to the weekend. There is Christian on the pit wall. Very happy, as you can see, about his pole position here, because it's an ultra-competitive field in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland, and if you can get your nose in front in qualifying, it gives you a great chance of winning the race. However, there is a long drag towards turn 1, because we use part of the oval circuit. This is an oval circuit that was built when IndyCar racing came to Europe in the early 2000s. It was built in the year 2000, and we used part of the oval banking. So it's a very quick run towards turn 1. And in all of the other races that we've seen here this weekend, GT Masters, DTM, Formula 4 racing, Alex, there has been a huge amount of overtaking and outbraking into turn 1.
Yeah, it's a really fast last corner, which is flat with this banking, and this gives you a really good way into corner 1, which is a big braking, or one of the biggest braking on the full circuit. And of course, if you manage to use your toe during alongside this banking and this long straight, then you can have a good movement into the first corner and dive into the inside. For sure, we will see also some movement into the Porsche Cup, and some drivers trying to get to gain some position in corner 1.
So Christian Engelhardt, Dennis Olsson, and there Michael Ammermuller, the top 3 in qualifying. You were a rookie in the championship, and another rookie that's making waves is this young man, the Austrian driver Thomas Preining. Tommy Preining, just 17 years of age. He was in the Formula 4 championship last year. That was his first full season of car racing of any kind. He finished 4th in the ADAC Formula 4 championship, but he was a mighty kart racer. That was where I first met him, when he was quite a few centimetres shorter, but every bit as quick. He utterly dominated the 2014 European Karting Championship, which is a hugely competitive arena. And great to see Tommy doing well in racing, coming into Porsches with the support of Porsche Junior. There is Christopher Zoschling, the Swiss driver, based in Bristol, in the west of England, and very relaxed this weekend as ever. He's having a good chat on the holding area before they went out for qualifying this morning with lots of the other drivers in and around him. Had a quick chat with this man, Nick Yelloly. Nick Yelloly coming into his second season in the Porsche Carrera Cup. Huge experience for Nick in single-seater racing, the higher echelons of single-seater racing as well. And he confirmed what I thought when I spoke to him this morning, that with the Porsche, it is all about getting the traction down. So Nick starting just ahead of Marius Nacken, the MRS GT racing driver. Those your top 4 rows of the grid. Also caught up with the Class B driver. There's 2 classes, Class A for the pro drivers, Class B for the AM drivers. Caught up with Wolf Nathan, who is always one of the front runners in the category. It's not his best suited circuit. He knows Wolfgang Triller is going to be quick here, but he said if I can pick up a second place, I'll be pretty pleased with that. But he said this is, and maybe this is something you can confirm, Alex. He said this is such a hard car to drive because you don't have gadgets like traction control. There's a huge amount of power with the cars. They are very hard to drive, and a lot of drivers takes them a couple of years to get really good at Porsche racing. And Wolf said to me, if you're quick in a Porsche, you'll be a quick racing driver in anything else you ever drive after that.
Yeah, the Porsche car, these Porsche Cups are really technical to drive because you have not a lot of weight for a GT car because it's around 1,300 kilos, but it's a car that it's hard to move from the left to the right to brake. You have no ABS system when you go to GT3 or GT car. They all have this ABS, this brake system, help system. It's a really powerful car with less aerodynamic. So all this plays into a game, which makes the car really hard to drive, a really good school towards a GT career.
And all the weight is right at the back of the car as well. So Wolf was saying the back end of the car snaps away from you really quickly. They're very hard to control at times, especially when the tyres start to go off later in the race.
Yeah, especially because this car has all the weight, all the engine, the gearbox in the back. It has a real stable back. It's not itching a lot. The problem is the front. You have no weight in the front, right. So it's a car that's a massive understeer. It's really hard to make it turn because you want weight in the front. You need grip in the front, but it's nothing. It's just a fuel tank, and as we see, they go for a 25 minutes race, which is around 50 to 60 liters on the fuel tank. You don't put much more on it. So this always playing to a role, and as the tires are getting more and more used, you're losing this entry in the car, so it's really hard to drive, but like you were saying, it's really good school towards the future when you go into GT career or prototypes or other kind of categories. You
learn great basic skills here. There is the rest of the grid. Ryan Cullen, you saw back in 12th place. Now, might be one to watch coming through here. A good driver is Ryan, perhaps a bit further down the grid than he might have expected. Slightly different circuit this to many of the others on the calendar, and one you either get on with or don't get on with, but it's got a real mixture of tight twisty sections, but also the very fast corners and long straights as well. So it's a tricky corner. It's all about traction coming out of those slow corners to make sure you get up to top speed as quickly as possible. There is the track layout. It's just under 3.5 kilometres long. Going to be an 18-lap race, which should equate to just over 60 kilometres of racing. Anti-clockwise as well, this circuit, which is relatively unusual. And 12 turns around it. So Christian Engelhardt there in the Black Falcon car, silver and blue. Dennis Olsen for Conrad Motorsport in their traditional turquoise, white and blue colours, with Michael Ammermuller and Thomas Breining third and fourth, cars number 87 and 2. Christopher Zoschling fifth, Nick Yelloly in sixth place for Hans Bergkamp's Deutsche Post team. Marius Nacken, Larry ten Voorde, the newcomer from Holland. Luca Rettenbacher, one to watch as well. Potentially they're up there in the top 3 as well, in car number 3, and Gabriela Piana, all making up the top 10 cars. We'll keep an eye on the battle in Class B as well. In terms of the points coming into this then, off the back of those 2 wins at Hockenheim, Dennis Olsen has got the maximum possible score of 50 points. Michael Ammermuller, 40 points in second place. Christopher Zoschling, 32 points is third. They have locked out the podium in both races so far. Nick Yelloly will be looking for his first podium of the year. He's had a 5th and a 4th. Tommy Preining had a very good 4th place on his debut at Hockenheim. He's not far off either. Can he pick up a first podium here? Christian Engelhardt then to the left of your picture. To the right, Dennis Olsen, unbeaten so far this year, looking for a hat-trick. But couple of tenths quicker, as we saw in qualifying, was Engelhardt. Michael Ammermuller, the black and orange car just behind, third on the grid. The red lights, 460 brake horsepower about to be unleashed as the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland gets underway. And it's a very, very good start for Dennis Olsen, who's going to get into the lead of the race here. And Michael Ammermuller might be able to go with him. It's going to be 3 abreast on the way to the first corner. Engelhardt trying to go around the outside. He at least fends off Ammermuller, who is there in third place. Tommy Brining tucks in behind in fourth place. Then it's going to be Yeloli, and Rattenbach has made a good start as well to be up there in the top 6 from, what was it, 9th on the grid in the number 3 car, I reckon. So very good start for Dennis Olsen. It's gone from 2nd to 1st. Christian Engelhardt from pole position down to 2nd. Michael Ammermuller stays 3rd. Tommy Brining stays in 4th place. Then the 2 Deutsche Post cars pursuing them around this 18-lap race, which should last for around about 25 minutes. Through they come then. No incidents so far. Excellent driving by the lot of them. There is Olsen and Engelhardt. Oh, there is Rattenbacher. Didn't quite make up as many places as I thought. He stayed in around 8th, 9th position.
Really good start from Dennis Olsen. He used the traction of the car.
Oh, off already, I'm afraid. The 42 car there is Matthias Jesterich, the Uber Racing car. Hopefully be able to get that one going again.
See now if Christian Engelhardt is close enough to maybe start trying some movement to get back the first position. But like I was saying, really good start from Dennis Olsen, using the traction and avoiding any wheel spin. We might see later the replay if Christian Engelhardt did he had some kind of wheel spin or he lost some traction.
Didn't look like a terrible start from him, did it?
No,
I think it's just a really good start from Olsen. Although he did have Ammermuller coming after him as well, didn't he, into that first corner. Tommy Brining is having to work hard to keep behind him. Actually in 5th place, it's the teammate to Nick Yeloli. It's the number 10 car of Larry ten Voorde. That's the first of the 2 yellow Team Deutsche Post by Project One cars. Hans Bernskamp's team, with Nick Yeloli in his 2nd season of Porsches now. Just ahead of him, his teammate, getting very close to the wall there, Larry ten Voorde. That's as they come back onto the oval banking out of turn 5, to the left at turn 6, and into the sweeping right-hander at turn 7 they now go. And it looks to me as though Christian Engelhardt is starting to close back down the race leader. But Michael Ammermuller was quickest in the first sector by a few hundredths of a second. So it's squeezing up between them. You can see the one that struggled a bit off the line was Christopher Zoschling, the first of the red and white machines. Christopher 3rd in the championship. Podiums so far in both of the races. Car number 15 is his MRS GT racing car. Marius Nacken is his teammate. He's a couple of places behind him. And Ryan Cullen, the Irish driver, dropped a place from 12th to 13th on the first lap of the race. Wolfgang Trilling is leading the Class B drivers. He's in 17th place overall in the number 13 car, the Huber racing car. And the top 3 comes through, and getting tight between the 2 Project One cars here. They look like they're about to switch position on the way out of turn 1. Who are we going to get first then? Oh, they make contact, and around goes Nick Yeloli, but he keeps it going. A full 360. 10 out of 10 for artistic impression, and he rejoins in the thick of a battle that's going on out there between the midfielders. Now I have to defend, and Larry van Toorde is trying to defend as well. Ten Voorde trying to fend off Luca Rattenbacher in the Conrad car, the turquoise and white number 3 car. And there is Nick Yeloli. He did well there. He didn't actually lose that much time. He lost a few places. We saw the back end of the incident, and they were already running side by side. Oh, teammate went into the back of him. Just missing the pair of them was the red car of Zoschling. Tremendous car control from Nick Yeloli. Loses 3 or 4 places, but he quickly got going again and then was able to get stuck back into the action.
Yeah, now we see Christian Engelhardt attacking Dennis Olsen. I think we might have a good battle for that position. Yeah, Larry ten Voorde, the front splitter, is coming a little bit down. Let's see if he doesn't struggle to keep the pace. We see now the replay of the start. Was I think Christian Engelhardt fallen a bit asleep on the red light. Was a bit slow in the movement, and that's why Dennis Olsen and Ammermuller got a better start.
Yeah, Ammermuller had a big think about going down the inside, didn't he? But backed off out of it, I think, sensibly into turn 1.
Yeah.
The rest of them filtered through with no dramas. 1 or 2 running wide onto the grass. there, Dennis Olsen getting the lead of the race into turn 1 with a perfect start. But importantly for Engelhardt, at least he was able to close the door in time to prevent Ammermuller from coming through. Hans Conrad is very, very pleased with all of that, as you'd expect. And here is small contact between 8 and 9. 8 is Philip Sager going around and around. 9 is Wolf Nathan. And we also already saw the 42 car of Matthias Jesterik parked up. Well, he's now out of the car with his helmet off. And there was more contact further back. That was the number 4 Gabriella Piana car, which started 10th, just nicking the back of number 26 Ryan Cullen, which explains why Ryan lost a place on the early part of the race. So Nick Yaloli rejoined in 9th position, just behind the number 14 car of Manias Nakan, the MRS GT Racing car. And that is the one thing you do not want to be doing, isn't it? Having contact with your own teammate. That's going to be spoken about, I imagine, when they get back.
Yeah, definitely. You never want to have two teammates having contact with it, but that's racing. It's close racing, and it can happen as well.
Well, from the team manager's point of view, you want both of his cars to do well, but from a driver's point of view, you're in the same team, but you're looking after yourself, aren't you? You want your own results.
Of course, you're doing your own race, you're on your own rhythm, your own position, challenge position, your own points. Yeah, but usually it's not the best image to see two drivers on the same team crashing together.
Not this early in the season, but it's not the first time it's ever happened either, is it? Let's be fair. So and they've been pretty evenly matched at Hockenheim. They were pretty, in the same sort of pace as well, those two, weren't they?
Yeah, we saw great battling between all the three Project 1 cars at Hockenheim. It was pretty respectful, pretty fair play, to be honest. But now we see this time led it into a collision. But like we said, it can happen. That's racing, and you need to look for the gaps.
Let's see what Nick can do now. He can come back up the order. Top class single-seater racing racer. He got as high as GP2, just underneath Formula 1. He's a very good GP3 racer as well. Finished twice 6th in the championship. I mean, watching him have some good races at Silverstone, his home races there. That was back around about 2013, 2014. Coming into Porsche Carrera Cup GB Deutschland last year, finishing in a pretty healthy 6th place in the championship as well. This is the team which ran Philip Eng to 2 titles. So in 2014 and 2015, Philip now racing in GTs, and with a long history of successful drivers, including association with Sean Edwards, a late great driver. So 5 laps complete. Bit of a lock-up on the way into turn 1 from the Dutchman there, Larry ten Voorde, and that means that Rettenbacher is able to close up to him coming out of the corner. And look who's behind in 8th place, Nick Yaloli. So he's found a way past Marius Nakan and gunning for his teammate, no doubt. And looking quick at the moment, Nick Yaloli's last lap time 125.8, which was 8/10 quicker than Larry ten Voorde and Luca Rettenbacher. So he's catching these two up. Rettenbacher will be keen to get past. He'll realise he's been caught from behind and will want to get through on ten Voorde, who's come up through Formula Renault Racing. Predominantly, so relatively new to Porsches once again. Great sight as they come through, and a much bigger field than we had last year, so it's great to see the Porsche Carrera Cup extending its grid. There's always been a high quality of drivers out there. It's great to see the numbers back up and running for the championship as well now, because Porsche Carrera Cup racing run in various national championships all over the world, in Great Britain, in France, in Italy, and elsewhere in Asia as well. Big market for them there. And the Super Cup supports Formula 1 racing as well, which many of these drivers also compete. Sven Muller, who was the winner of this championship last year, also won the Porsche Super Cup, which is the international version of the championship, if you like. And it's the 28th season of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland now, formed back in 1990. So Dennis Olsen leads, but only by 0.3 of a second. Did a 126.2 last time around, and Engelhardt in 2nd place did a 126.0. But even quicker than the pair of them was Michael Ammermuller with a 125.9. So 3rd is catching 2nd, and they're both catching the race lead a bit by bit here. Here further down the field, we see a long line of Porsches, 6 or 7 of them running together. And there is the number 20 car of Henrik Skoog, which currently runs in 12th place. So up there in the points is Henrik, another newcomer to the championship.
Well, big blocks from Christian Engelhardt in the 2nd sector. He lost around 6/10 to Dennis Olsen. and also it lost quite a lot in the first sector, so almost a second in the first 2 sectors. So he also might be really close now to Michael Ammermüller.
Yeah, it's tightening up, isn't it, between them? At 1/3 distance in the race, 6 of the 18 laps have been completed. Dennis Olsen, Christian Engelhardt, Michael Ammermüller all close together. Drive-through penalty, though, for the number 10 car of Larry Ten Voorde for pushing another car, and we all know who the other car was. It was his teammate Nick Yelloly. So Nick is, I'm sure, going to have a twinkle in his eye. Whether he can restrain that or not, we'll never know, but I'm sure he will, as his teammate is sent into the pits, and that will put him up to 7th place then, and with Rettenbacher just in front of him as well. Yelloly is very close to the tail of the number 3 Rettenbacher car, so he could be on still for a top 6 finish here to keep his runner form going. Lights flashing then for Michael Ammermüller. This is the battle for 2nd place, and Michael is keen to get through on Christian Engelhardt for 2 reasons. One is that he can see suddenly on this lap Dennis Olsen has got away. Dennis was only 0.3 of a second clear. He's now 1.4 seconds clear, and it's because Christian Engelhardt, unseen to us, has had a slow lap, hasn't he? He's done a 1:27.1. Now, whether that was an attempted move, a mistake, or defending possibly from Ammermüller, but either way, it's allowed the leader to get clear, and Ammermüller wants to get on with it and catch him up. He's also partially aware of what's behind, because Tommy Priding, Christopher Zoschling are not far back either in 4th and 5th positions. So working their way round the race leaders to come on to the start-finish line. New race here in the 2015 Championship. Alex, just talk us around a lap, if you can remember driving these cars here a couple of years ago, and what it's like.
I mean, it's a really hard track, because with all this left, right, you need to really position well the car so you can get the corner rights. But this first corner, as far as I remember, we were braking around 100 meters, taking care not to block the tires. You need to go really tight on the first corner, clip that curb. Then you have the switchback situation for the corner 2 and 3. You need to always use a lot of the curves on this track. This car is really good when you run over the curve, so use the match space. And like we said before, so you don't have much of runoff area, so you need to use the track really from the left to the right. Use all the space you have. And it's a really challenging track. Like I said, we're using the curb. Even here, we clip a bit the curb. You try to keep it as much to the left as possible to make the right corner, which is a fast corner. You need to challenge a lot here with the car with the throttle, and then use the runoff area, coming to small straight. Now braking on the line, down to 3rd gear, going a little bit late on the apex, trying to get a little bit of the curb, like we see now. Christopher Zoschling putting pressure into this is a fast corner, which is flat out, and then coming double right corner. Christopher Zoschling run on the outside, getting a good run now for the last corner. Oh, good. Made it on the outside, get the inside line for the last corner. Now the acceleration. Let's see now if Zoschling can get the position back into the Thomas Preining.
So you meant about using the curbs. He was all over him, wasn't he, there, the Austrian driver, as he tried to find a way past, or at least level with Tommy Priding. Tommy, though, knows what's coming, so he just goes across to the left to cover off his line. Zoschling's on the outside, can't get through there. He'll try and get better traction coming out of the corner and set one up for the left-hander coming up. He thought about it, but there's a lot of dust off the racing line there, and less traction, less grip. So Tommy Priding fended him off, but this is Christopher Zoschling, who's been in the championship since 2014, so this is going to be his 4th season in the championship versus the rookie Tommy Priding, who's already been getting close to finishing on the podium. Tommy, an exceptional driver, so the Austrian versus the Swiss here, nose to tail. This is the battle for 4th place overall. And with these sections in the middle of the lap, Alex, where one corner flows into another, do you have to be careful not to be too quick going into the first part of that? Otherwise,
exactly.
You slow on the exit, it ruins the next 2 corners, doesn't it?
You need to sometimes compromise the first corner to get a good second one and good complex overall. If you go too fast in the first corner and then you compromise too much the second one, and then overall the time is not there. So this, for example, this section is really important, that you, at the outside of the second to last corner, you stay as max to the right as possible, so you can make the wide corners, last corner, and you can prepare the last corner, because here you have a massive acceleration point where you have to go as soon as possible on the throttle to go towards the long straight and the first corner.
Completely flat out now, and goes left, goes right. Tommy Priding just sits in the middle of the track on the racing line. That's completely his right to do so, and he's just got to make sure he doesn't outbrake himself into the corner. Zoschling can't find a way through again, so the Austrian stays ahead of the Swiss here. Christopher, who's also done some racing in Blancpain Series in recent years, raced in the VLN prior to that, so he's got some long-distance race experience under his belt as well. There's a great scrap going on between them. He's itching to get past, isn't he, everywhere he goes. And there are times where he's just showing his nose here, and all he's trying to do, he's not really trying to get past there. He knows he can't overtake, but he's just trying to distract Tommy Preining and make him glance in the mirror for a split second, isn't he, so that he misses his braking point.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes there are some point on the track where you cannot overtake, but you try to force your adversary to make a mistake, to run off, to block the tires, and then you can use that chance to get past. If
he thinks maybe you are going to pull off a move, then he perhaps brakes a bit later than he ideally wanted to and messes up the corner that way.
Exactly.
Dennis Olsen being caught, reeled in again by Christian Engelhardt at the front of the field, by the way. Bit by bit, but the gap's down to 0.9 of a second now. Michael Amamola in third place. Then this battle for fourth place you're looking at. Luca Rettenbacher is only just clear of Nick Yaloli now. So Nick in seventh place. He's within 0.2 of a second of Rettenbacher. And then also in the top 10, you've got the number 14 car of Manas Naken. That runs in 8th place. In 9th place, it's David Kolkman. And in 10th position, it's the number 17 car of Max van Splunteren.
Yeah, we see now Christian Engelhardt is lapping a bit faster than Dennis Olsen, so he's now back on his tail. And let's see if he can maybe keep pressure a little bit on Dennis Olsen and try to get the first position back.
Number 13, Wolfgang Triller, still leads Class B for the amateur drivers. He's there in 17th place, 2 places behind him. He's number 12, Jorn Schmidt-Stade, second in the Class B, and third in Class B is Wolf Nathan in car number 9, running in 20th place overall. So it's fairly close between them, but certainly Wolfgang Triller having his nose in front the whole race through so far. The reigning Class B champion is Wolfgang Triller, a Bavarian businessman in his late 40s, having come up through GT3 racing, the GT3 Cup Challenge in the Middle East, where he came up firstly as an amateur, then as a semi-pro driver. Michael Amamola there in third place, trying to keep tabs with the top two. Fourth and fifth, working their way through these twisty sections then. And about to sprint back out of turn 12 onto the oval banking here. Best chance to overtake, no doubt about it, is into the next corner, but only if he can stay right underneath the rear wing of the car ahead. The door is open. Is he going to go for it? No, the light is covered off again. Both coming in a lot wider this time than they were previously, but much more in the middle of the track prior to that. And then you've got this battle here with Luca Rettenbacher, number 3, and Nick Yaloli there in the Project 1 car, yellow and black car, in 7th place, having been spun around by his teammate, who then got a drive-through penalty a few laps ago as a result of that. We're at 2/3 race distance, 12 of the 18 laps complete. It's been a really exciting race so far, very tense. This has been the battle to watch though. Christopher Zoschling again flashing the headlights, but Tommy Preining is soaking up the pressure because he's come through 125cc kart racing, where you don't just have one driver behind you. You normally have about 15 drivers right behind you, all trying to get past you for the lead of the race. So although he's new to Porsche racing and relatively new to car racing, the 17-year-old, he's been dealing with this all of his life. Zoschling trying everything, but it's good fair driving so far from the pair of them. Get the impression that Christopher is enjoying himself out there as well. Nick Yaloli pushing on here to try and get himself back up into the top 6. It might have been a better result on the cards for Nick had he not lost that time with the spin. Might have been involved in this battle potentially, but the top 3 are looking pretty much untouchable so far. 0.4 of a second though is now the gap with Dennis Olsen, only just clear of Christian Engelhardt, the pole sitter, as they came through. Michael Amamola a second and a half behind in third place on the race leader, 0.8 of a second behind second place. Zoschling trying again around the outside, thudding the curb on the inside as he comes out of the turn, both on the curbs through the right-left complex at turns 2 and 3. But Tommy Preining doing an excellent job here. He's not making any mistakes, and he's not over-defending either as well, is he? He's braking late, he's sticking to the racing line, but he's not hugging the inside. Might have to here though, because Christopher Zoschling gets a good run coming back out of turn 5. But again, good stuff from young Tommy Preining to keep him at bay. So those two having a huge scrap. But Tommy Preining's doing a fine job here, isn't he, defending the position?
No, he's doing a really nice job making the car as wide as possible, denying Christopher Zoschling to pass at any corner. I'm sure Christopher Zoschling will try at some moment, like we see now, diving into the inside. He will not stick there for the rest of the race, but he needs to find the perfect moment to do the movement. Otherwise, he will lose the position, and probably he will lose the momentum together with Thomas Preining, and just keep that pressure to force a mistake from the Porsche Junior.
Austrian driver in the Austrian team there, holding on to 4th place. And after the race, he's got to get us quickly from the paddock back across the bridge over to our side of the track, because for German TV, he told me he's going to be commentating on the Formula 4 race, which comes up after this, not long after this race finishes, which he raced last year as a co-commentator for that. So busy weekend for Tommy Preining. Busy at the moment trying to fend off Christopher Zoschling, who is throwing everything at him. He's banging on the door, but Tommy Preining will not let him in. He hasn't made a mistake. He hasn't left a single gap yet. But this is relentless pressure from Christopher Zoschling. I'm just wondering if they do start to really fight each other, whether there might be time for the next two, Rettenbacher and Yeloli, to catch them up as well in 6th and 7th. About 3 seconds behind at the moment.
Yeah, but luckily for those two guys, Rettenbacher and Yeloli are also challenging together, so they are not being really able to close the gap. They are getting closer and closer, but they are also challenging within. They are also both challenging for position together, so they are not really on a really high pace.
They're about 2/10 quicker at the moment, so it would take a while to catch up. But it's definitely coming down that gap between these two, 4th and 5th, and then the next two, Rettenbacher in 6th and Yeloli in 7th place. Would you ever do that as a racing driver? If you have got a driver ahead of you who's about the same speed, and then you see that you're both catching the next group, would you sometimes just back off and not attack and just see if you can work together to catch the next group?
Yeah, it depends a bit on how many laps it's remaining, and you need also to let kind of agree with the... We see now the switchback from Zöcklin, really nice, really beautiful moment. He needs to keep that front. Yeah, perfectly. He did it.
Nice.
He really nailed it. So he went to the outside, said to Tom, okay, I'm not challenging for position, then bam, do the switchback and surprise him with an inside line. And Thomas Preining had no chance to see now the replay. I'm on the outside. No, I'm going to the inside.
Last
the break.
Possible second that he did that, wasn't it? It's a very good move.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need to do in such a situation. Try a surprise maneuver, and it definitely worked out. Not so happy, Franz Conrad. Yeah, and this is the other challenge. We have 3 laps to go. Christian Engelhardt is closer than ever to Dennis Olsen. Will he try some overtaking maneuver? Not. We'll see now.
Yeah, well, he's got the momentum, hasn't he? He's been working really hard to close the gap here on Dennis Olsen, has Christian Engelhardt. And he's also bringing Michael Ammermuller with him as well, isn't he? So Engelhardt pushing hard now in the closing stages to get past Dennis Olsen. Dennis finished 3rd in the championship last year. Christian Engelhardt has been the perennial runner-up. The last 4 seasons in this championship, he's finished 2nd 3 times. In the other one, he finished in 3rd place. 2nd 2 years running in 2015 and 2016. 2nd a few years ago in 2013 as well. Been racing Porsches since 2008. He's also racing GT cars. The Lamborghini Huracan this weekend in the GT Masters, so a busy programme for him of qualifying, free practice and 4 races in the various classes and cars that he's driving this weekend. Will that be difficult for him to hop from a Lamborghini into a Porsche within a couple of hours of each other and then go back into the Lamborghini, or if you're a good driver, is that not a problem? I
think it's not a problem. Is experienced driver like Christian Engelhardt can adapt really quick. He's really used to drive Porsche. He's been driving Porsche Carrera Cup many years. I think it's 5 years or 6 years. So he gets used to it really quick. We see that Wolfgang's really locking a little bit. Oh, it's Wolfgang Natanz. Sorry. Oh, oof. That's
riding up over him, wasn't it? The 33 car of Stefan Reckopf. Tried to get out of it, too late, ran out of room, and then whoop, over the wheel arches and back down again, hopefully. No damage done to either car. And then losing a position as Philip Sager got past him on the exit. So that was a tight battle going on. Wolf-Nathan surviving, though.
So Engelhardt right on the tail from Dennis Olsen. He needs to defend.
2 laps to go, including the one they've just started. Gets a good run coming out of the corner. Christian Engelhardt in the silver and blue number 5 Porsche, the Black Falcon Porsche. new to the championship, looking for the win.
Final lap of the race. And Amel Müller is the perfect spectator of the situation, so he can be the guy. Either he stayed on third place, either he can win the race. So there's still everything open. So let's see now this last lap. Dennis also needs to make the car as wide as possible. Amel Müller will try to attack Engelhardt as well. Engelhardt tried to attack Dennis Olsen, so it's a completely open fight for first place.
Dennis Olsen is on for a hat-trick of wins. Won both races at Hockenheim. He's winning this one. He's got about 2.5 kilometres to hold on to it, though. The checkered flag is being readied down below the commentary box on the start-finish line. Christian Engelhardt is trying everything to get past Dennis Olsen. He's throwing caution to the wind. He's not worrying about the driver behind him, Michael Ammermuller. Michael is just about a length behind them now. Work their way through this series of corners, but unless he can get a brilliant run coming out of here, I don't think he's going to have time to out-drag Dennis Olsen, who's got his nose clear as he comes through the final turn, turn 12, checkered flag ready, and the third win of the season in 3 attempts goes to Dennis Olsen. He takes the checkered flag by 1/10 of a second. That's all it is after 18 laps of racing, 1/10 of a second. Christian Engelhardt and Michael Ammermuller right behind, less than a second covering the top 3. Christopher Zoschling, after trying everything for lap after lap after lap, finally getting put through on Tommy Preining with a few laps to spare, and then pulling away from him for 4th place. But that's still a very strong performance by Tommy Preining, 5th place, and his 3rd start in the Porsche Carrera Cup. We didn't see it, but Nick Yaloli getting ahead of Luca Rattenbacher for 6th place, so that will be of some solace to him. And then 8th place going the way of Max van Splunteren, 9th place to David Kochman, and 10th place was Marius Nacken. And Wolfgang Triller has just crossed the line to win Class B by quite some distance. 2 places behind him in 18th place, and second in that class in the end was Carlos Rivas. So Black Falcon with a driver on the podium in Class B as well, and Wolf Natan 3rd in the category, with Philip Sager 4th, and the one that dropped back late on was Jorn Schmidt-Starder, who dropped back to 5th in class late on. So some slow-mos there, door open, Dennis Olsen, a race win, and Franz Conrad bit disappointed to not have the 4th place for Tommy Preining, but more than pleased with Dennis Olsen's performance here, up against a very strong Christian Engelhardt and Michael Ammermuller. So good performance. That was all about the start of the race, really, wasn't it? He hooked it up really well. Had a great start. Christian Engelhardt just wasn't quite perfect off the line, and that was the difference in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Really good performance from Dennis Olsen. Brilliant start, really good reaction to the light, and then he made a fantastic job from the beginning to the end, making the car as wide as possible in the last lap to deny the position to Christian Engelhardt. So yeah, what else can we add? He deserved it. 3 races this season, 3 wins, so it's looking everything really good for him.
Absolutely, yeah. Dennis really moving forward in the championship. Stakes after running well last year in 3rd place, but the consistency and the race victories are flowing nicely for him now. Good effort by Christian Engelhardt to push hard. Christian's a very fair driver, and he was never going to try anything 50-50 to try and get the place back. And Michael Ammermuller will round out the podium. They're back well before him because he's been enjoying the slowing down lap here, Dennis Olsen, making the most of it, no doubt picking up some loose marbles of rubber as well. But the Norwegian driver is 21 years of age. He's greeted by the team, his engineers. 3rd place. There's the boss, Mr. Conrad himself. He never seems to get any older. I don't know what he takes, but it's working, isn't it?
Dave says the same words, to be honest.
We're both jealous, basically. Yeah. That a man who's quite a bit older than us doesn't look much older than us.
Yeah, also really good performance also from Black Falcon. 2nd race of the season, achieving a main podium, an A-class podium, also a B-class podium with Carlos Rivas. So I think the guys will be happy. But more than happy is this guy. 3rd race, 3rd win.
Yeah, top rookie last year, 3rd place overall. Formula Renault is where he came from prior to that. 3 seasons in various Formula Renault championships. In Scandinavia, a Formula Renault champion, German karting champion. Only 5 years ago he was karting in 2012. And another young driver coming through the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland ranks. There's Michael Ammermuller, third place for him. Another podium to add to the 2 second place finishes he picked up at Hockenheim. Still waiting his first win of the season. Christian Engelhardt steering the Black Falcon Porsche. Lovely livery on the car through to the runner-up spot in second place. There though, the winner. Never far clear. He got a 1.4 second gap at one point. That was it. Most of the time he had them breathing down his neck from start to finish. But in all honesty, he never looked like giving the place up. And the Porsche junior driver, Dennis Olsen, ably supported by Porsche, and all the things they did behind the scenes as well with the drivers, in terms of the media presence they give them and the support in terms of the fitness and the training as well for their young drivers. So wait for the drivers to make their way up to the podium. A 1, 2, 3 there, and a very strong championship it is turning into. And most of the cars, you see Christian Engelhardt there, most of the cars making their way to the checkered flag and finishing the race as well. So one or two incidents early on, but again, it was a very clean start to the race, wasn't it, where there is potential for there to be a bit of a disaster through that tight run into turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. But they all did a good job. There's the updated championship standings then. Dennis Olsen, 75 points now. Michael Ammermuller, 56. Christopher Zoschling, third on 45. And then Nick Yaloli's fourth, but a point behind him, Tommy Preining in fifth. Larry Ten Voorde down to sixth place. Nacken Engelhardt on 20 points in eighth place. Rettenbacher, ninth. Engelhardt not featuring at Hockenheim, so up there on the podium. But steadily building up a nice lead here in the championship for Dennis Olsen. And the times didn't really seem to drop off too much, did they, with the front runners in terms of their lap times?
No, not really. Those Michelin tires, these Cap 2 tires are really good tires. They can really last during the race. Maybe it's really warm weather, they can drop a little bit towards the end, but has to be said that these tires are really good during the laps. And also it's a 25-minute race, which is quite short. We just see 18 laps, so it's pretty fast. So yeah, not a big deal for those tires to have graining or big degradation issues.
No, they certainly were hanging on. So just getting their live interviews now. They're at the top three, waiting to make their way up to the podium. Being introduced up very shortly to pick up the silverware. Still with another race to come tomorrow as well, though, for these drivers. The grid based on the second fastest lap times in tomorrow's race. It's going to see Christian Engelhardt on the front row. With him will be Christopher Zoschling, though. So a chance for a podium for Christopher Zoschling. But here then the drivers making their way up onto the podium. Franz Conrad, all smiles as he ever is. Cheers them up there. Because his man is going on to the very top step. Engelhardt in second place. Michael Ammermuller there in third position. And time for our national anthem. The Norwegian national anthem sounds out across the stadium here at the Lausitzring, and it plays for that man, Dennis Olsen, now a three-time race winner in the 2017 season. He receives the winner's trophy. All smiles. Still as enthusiastic as somebody that's won a race for the first time as a team boss. A decent peddler himself back in the day as well, absolutely, was Franz Conrad. Christian Engelhardt's got a fair few pieces of silverware as well over the years. Would love to win the championship one day. But a second place finish, the new team, we've been very pleased with that, I think. Very close second as well. Michael Ammermuller keeps on picking up the points. Fourth in the championship last year, up to second place in the championship now, but would like very soon, if he can, to start picking up some race wins and closing the gap to Dennis Olsen. And pose for some photos. As I say, it's Engelhardt will be on pole position for the race tomorrow. Christopher Zoechling will be second. Mikael Ammermuller's going to be starting third in the race tomorrow. Dennis Olsen, your race winner, has got work to do tomorrow because he starts fourth. So he won this one from second, but he's got to be fourth on the grid for tomorrow's race. And all of his race wins so far this year have come from second on the grid. Second to first 3 times out of 3 now. Twice pipping Mikael Ammermuller, this time getting through on Christian Engelhardt, but from fourth place, is he going to be able to win the race? We shall find out. Making the most of this. If he can get a podium tomorrow, I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that to add to the race victory today. So, highlights from the first race of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland here at the Lausitzring. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage from Alex Tyrrell and me, Chris Hartley. It's goodbye for now, and we'll see you again for tomorrow's race here in Germany. There is the winner of Class B then, Wolfgang Triller, 16th place overall. And picking up the Class B spoils, the dominant champion of Class B last year. The category for the amateur drivers. Alongside him on the podium are second and third in the category. Wolf Natan will pick up the trophy for third place. So a strong performance around what he says is absolutely not his strongest circuit on the calendar, so he'll be relatively pleased with that. Carlos Rivas for Black Falcon is going to pick up the second place trophy though. There he is. And in the end, they finished in 16th, 18th and 19th places, respectively. Wolf Natan is always a character, the Dutch driver, and always with a smile on his face. Good chat with him this morning. He said it was too hot yesterday in practice. He said, I did a quick lap early on and then I got too hot and too tired. So he was much happier with the cooler weather today. And you can see he's still been working hard behind the wheel of that car. So up onto the top step they will all come eventually for some photos, these top three. And you see drivers coming through Class B and developing as drivers and then moving on to other things as well. Former champion in Class B, Rolf Inniken, moving on to GT Masters, which is racing very well these days. And racing here, in fact, this weekend, the GT Masters and DTM with the Porsches and Formula 4, this motorsport festival here in the eastern part of Germany. Wolfgang likes the champagne. I'm not sure Wolf Natan thinks too much of it. So a great day here so far with the Porsches. Some very, very close racing in all the classes. And they'll be back again for more tomorrow. Dennis Olsen, Christian Engelhardt and Mikael Ammermuller, the top three overall. Wolfgang Triller, the winner of Class B. But tomorrow is another day. and there's going to be some more close racing between them. Nick Yaloli will be looking to get his first podium of the season as well, but it's going to be looking for a first victory for Christian Engelhardt. He'll be the man on pole position when we come back for tomorrow's race. So once again, from Alex Tyrrell, from Rick Rosali, hope you enjoyed the coverage of the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. Race 4 of the championship coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then.